Hey everyone, so today we are going to go over grammar rules, and we're going to look at sentences that are not proper, and we're going to correct them. And then we can practice writing our own sentences. Okay? Hello.
Hello.
Okay. All right.
He was then assassinated in 1979, and his
Okay.
name really divides the country's spirit.
Okay. Okay. It looks like we already have a lot of people in class. Awesome. So today I wanted to take a look, obviously, at grammar. And I want to start with verb tenses. So what we use most often is the present and the past tense. So you guys know the present tense, like I do, I am, stuff like that. And the past tense, like I went. So we're going to look at sentences where the tenses are mixed, and we're going to see if you can tell me what is wrong with some of these sentences. So I'm going to post the first one in the chat. Okay. Oop, that's not the right sentence. Okay. All right, and you'll have to excuse me. I'm very sick. All right. So the first sentence, I go to the store and I bought milk. Can anyone tell me what's wrong with the verb tenses here? What should it be?
I went to the store.
Yeah, so if we want to make the sentence past tense, I went to the store and I bought milk, because bought is the past tense of to buy. Yeah. Past. Okay. Okay. All right. So what if we want to make the sentence present? So in the present tense, how can we change the sentence?
I go to the store and I buy milk.
Yeah, exactly. So I go to the store. And I buy milk. Yeah. So you see how when you form a sentence, you have to keep your verbs in the same tense. So I just want to stick with simple tenses. And would you like to go over the future tense right now? So if you want practice with the future tense, okay. I see one head shaking. All right. So can anyone give us an example of this sentence in the future tense? You can just try.
I can try in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it.
I will go to the store and I will buy milk.
Yep. And I will buy, milk. Okay, so that's in the future.
Excuse me, and we can't talk about future. We use the close present, use present to talk about close future.
I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to buy milk.
Yeah, so if you want to talk about the, say in 10 minutes, so you still have to use the future. So in 10 minutes, I am going to go to the grocery store to buy milk. Or in 10 minutes,
Hi.
I will go to the store to buy milk. So even if it's 10 minutes in the future, or a day, a week, you still have to use the present tense, or the future tense, sorry. Yes, Nicolas. So can you read that message? The one you're typing or the one I typed?
No, no, I was speaking to Simona who is dealing with this video. I'm not
Okay.
sure everyone is looking with this chat, this group chat,
Mm-hmm.
because there is two types of chat on Verblin,
Yep.
and the first one is difficult to open back.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes, too.
So
Okay.
if you want to see chat, on the left there is an icon. It is blue, and you have to click on it a few times, and the right chat should come up. Okay. All right. To make anything in the future tense, you can start with I will, he or she will, she will, they will. Okay. And then you can use followed by the verb you want to use. And that's an easy way to use the future tense, because I know the future can be a little confusing and complicated. So an easy way to use the future is to use I will. So I will run later today. Okay? Everyone understand? And there are different ways to use the future, but so you don't make too many mistakes, you can just use that simple formula, and it should work quite well. Okay, so I have another example of poor verb tenses, and I'm posting it again. Okay, and I will eat fish for dinner and drink milk with my dinner. So how can we say this in the present tense? Does anyone want to give it a
We
try?
can say, I eat fish for dinner and drink milk with my dinner.
And drink. I eat fish for dinner and drink milk with my dinner.
That's right.
Fish for dinner and yeah, I drink milk with my dinner. Yeah, you can say that. And what about for past tense? So how can we put the verbs eat and drink in the past tense to make a sentence about last night, what we had for dinner?
Last night I ate fish.
I ate fish and I drank. Okay. So it's pretty simple. As you can see from these examples, the person writing them used two different verb tenses. So if you're talking about the past, try to stay in the past. If you're talking about the future, try to use I will, I am going. And then if you're talking about the present, you want to keep all your verbs in the same tenses. Okay, so we know what time you're talking about. All right. All right. So then a lot of times in English, there are subject and verb agreement errors. So that means that the subject of the sentence, which is the person or thing doing the action, does not agree with the verb, and we want it to agree. So in English, we do not have masculine and feminine, so you do not have to agree with masculine or feminine subjects, but we do have plural. So how do we make something plural, usually in English? Do you know? So how, if
we add an S suffix at the end.
Yes. So we would add an S. And to answer Nicolas' question on chat, there was an error in the sentence we did before. I will eat fish for dinner and drink milk with my dinner.
Okay.
So eat and drank. Eat is present tense, drank is past tense.
Okay. So it was on purpose to have a mistake in the sentence. It's
Yes.
it's a drill for us to find this kind of error.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why we put it in the present tense and the past tense, so we could see how the verbs matched up.
Okay.
So ate and drank, past tense, eat and drink, present tense. Okay? So like I was saying, for subject and verb agreement errors. Okay, so to make something plural, I heard someone say it, we add an S for words that end with Y. What do we add? So if I have a family, but I'm talking about multiple families, what did I change? I changed the Y to what?
E.
To I.
With E.
Yes.
Yes.
I-E-S.
Yeah. So if something's plural, we add an S. For words that end with Y, add. Ooh, I had a spelling error there. So add IES. Yeah. So George typed in families, FAMILIES. All right. And just to reiterate, there is no masculine or feminine. Sorry, my computer changes my word into French sometimes. Feminine. Okay. I'm just going to write M and F because my computer is switching them into different languages. No masculine and no feminine. Okay, so I have friends here because for us, computer in French, that's my second language, is masculine, and it's ordinateur. So when they talk about this masculine computer, they refer to it as a he. But all objects should be referred to as it. So all objects are it, or what they are. Objects or what they are, okay? So you never want to say, so for a sentence, my computer is brand new. You never want to say, he is brand new. It makes no sense in English, and we may not know what you are talking about. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes?
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So this section is to go over the plural and the singular, which sometimes can be a little confusing. Paste. All right, so the first sentence is Matt like fish. Does anyone see something wrong with this sentence?
Likes.
Likes with S.
Yeah, exactly. So Matt likes fish. All right, and Matt is singular, so like is plural. Does that make sense? So Matt likes fish. So Matt is one person. He's singular. But the verb likes, to like, needs to be plural. Even though you're talking about one person. So if you are talking about multiple people, so they like fish. Do you see the difference? How the subject is plural.
Like is without S.
Yeah, so the verb is singular.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little bit opposite because I know, at least in French, so definitely in Spanish, when your subject is singular, your verb is conjugated singularly. So, and if your subject is plural, then your verb is plural. But in English, it's not that way. Okay? All right, so, and another big problem, I notice my students have problems with is and are. So is used for one person,
Yeah.
are for many people, for
Yeah.
more than one person,
From plural.
for more than one person. Yeah, George, I don't speak Spanish, but that looks like English. So him, her, we, right? Él, ella, nosotros. I can't say it, but
Nosotros.
Nosotros comemos.
yeah.
We,
So
we eat.
yeah, it's the same in French. It's je, tu, il, elle.
Je suis, tu, elle.
Yeah.
Very similar.
So exactly. All right. So we're definitely going to go over this. Is okay. So Anna and Mike is going skiing. What's the problem there?
Are going.
Are.
Are going.
So Anna and Mike are going skiing. So this is the one problem I have with all of my students in France is and are. Because they know it needs to be the verb to be. But for them, it doesn't make sense how to conjugate it. So if anyone has questions about is and are, you can ask me
No question.
now. No questions.
They are going skiing.
Skiing. Yeah.
Skiing,
So.
sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So I am, he, I'll write this out. He, she is, they are. And it's we are as well. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so something just to memorize. So when you, that way if you have I am, he is, she is memorized, you can automatically just say a simple sentence. So Anna and Mike are plural, which you understand. So and is in that sentence is singular. So you have to make that verb the plural, which is, and some of these verbs are irregular, which is just a pain in the butt. And I have never learned English as a second language like I have with French. So I was never taught the difference between the regular and irregular verbs in English. I don't know. We learned them growing up. So for me, I cannot tell you sometimes if it's regular or irregular because I never made that distinction in school. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, okay. And then another big problem in sentences is the use of a double negative. So can anyone explain or give an example of a double negative?
Can you repeat, please?
Yep.
The good German.
So can anyone give an example or explain a double negative? Okay.
I don't know nothing.
Okay. So a double negative.
Correct. I don't know anything.
Yeah. So I don't know anything.
Anything.
Double negative.
Yes. That's an example of a double negative. Okay. So how can we change that sentence to be grammatically correct?
I know nothing.
Yeah. I know nothing.
Actually, I think it's already correct. I don't know anything is kind of... It sounds okay.
It sounds okay for me.
Oh, sorry. It was supposed to be nothing. I typed in the correct answer.
Okay.
I don't know nothing.
Right.
So the correct I don't know anything is another way to say So sorry, I'll make this clear. I don't know nothing. Okay? So, a way to rephrase that we said was I know nothing, or I don't know anything. Sorry, I gave you the other answer. Sorry about that.
Is it completely incorrect, or because I think I heard an expression like that in movie or something?
Yeah, so in American movies or television shows, if someone is trying to be, if the character is stupid sometimes, or they're trying to be funny, they will say, I don't know nothing. But in English, that's very, very, very poor grammar. So it should be, I don't know anything. Okay, but it can be, they do use it sometimes. You're right. I have heard it in a television show before.
Okay.
So, but used more so as a joke for a
Alright.
stupid character. Okay, so, all right, no, okay, sorry, what's my computer doing? All right, so another example of a double negative. When you want to say that you don't want something, I don't want no pudding. Okay?
Pudding.
Pudding, like chocolate, like a chocolate substance, like Jello products. It can be chocolate or vanilla or lemon, and it's used for cakes or tarts. Everyone knows what pudding is?
In Italy, it doesn't exist.
Oh, it doesn't
It's
exist.
a food.
Yeah, it's a food. It's a gel food. So how can we change this to be grammatically correct? How would you
We
say?
can drop no.
Okay,
So it would be I don't want pudding.
I don't want pudding.
I don't know. I don't want any pudding.
Exactly. I don't want any pudding.
So if it looks like, it sounds like if someone offered you several kinds of puddings and you say I don't want any of them. Is this correct?
Yes. Or it can refer to, so it refers to how many pudding flavors there are, or how much pudding is maybe in the bowl. So if they're putting a lot in your bowl, you could say, oh, no thank you, I do not want any pudding. So I don't want like you to fill my bowl with that substance. Because you need that article. So for people out there who speak Italian or Spanish, you have to use in French, because I know in Italian and Spanish it's similar. So for us in French, it's de. So I don't want any. It means like reference to how much of a substance there is, like a quantity of water, or like a quantity that can't be defined, kind of. So like some water, some pudding. It's not in a package. Yeah, does that make sense?
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. And okay. One more example of this. Okay, so I can't hardly believe.
What is that?
Okay, so I can't. Hello?
I can't
Hello?
believe it.
I can't hardly believe. Yeah, so how else can we. How can we say this correctly?
I can hardly believe.
Yeah, so.
Hardly believe.
And there should be an it after that. So I can hardly believe it.
Oh,
I can't hardly believe it.
Or what about I can't believe it?
I can't believe it. Okay.
Does this make sense to you? So
Okay.
can't and hardly are both negative. So you either need to replace can't with the positive, which is can, so I can hardly believe it, or you need to remove hardly, so I can't believe it. That way you don't have can't and hardly, which are both negative, two negatives, double negative in the same sentence. Does that make sense?
yep.
Okay. All right. So I also do this in English when I write long papers, dissertations. I may have a few sentence fragments. Now, my favorite way to fix a sentence fragment is to add a colon, or a semicolon, which you can sometimes do. But the best way to get rid of a fragment is to add more detail to the sentence. But there are a few rules in English that you have to abide by. So usually you cannot start a sentence with because and but. If you do that, your sentence is automatically considered a fragment. So what you want to do is either combine two sentences using those words, because, and, or but, or you need to completely rewrite the sentence. So in English, do you understand that if you start a sentence with because, and but, it will be considered a fragment? Yeah? So, okay. Hopefully that makes sense. And okay, so sentence fragments, I'm sure you understand that in your own language, they also do not complete a thought. And an example of this is, and I'm posting it in chat right now, because I ate dinner. Okay, so the first problem is the sentence starts with because, and the next problem is because I ate dinner. Because you ate dinner, what? So, what happened? So, it's not a complete sentence, thus it is a fragment. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. So, how can we make or integrate because I ate dinner into a sentence? Would someone like to give an example or write a sentence in chat for us?
I'm not hungry for now because I had dinner yesterday.
I am not hungry right now because I ate dinner. Yeah, it's perfect. So you see how we still used because I ate dinner, but we have a reason, and because is in the center of the sentence. So because is the link between two separate ideas, and so the sentence is complete. Yeah? All right.
You don't have to write the
I'm listening.
the time when you ate dinner is correct like this, or you have to write or say the time when you ate dinner.
You do not, but you can if you want to give more information. So I am not hungry right now because I ate dinner 2 hours ago.
Okay.
So, ... 2 hours
Ago.
And before we move on, one grammar rule that I was just reminded of is that all numbers less than 10 you have to write. than 10, you have to write out. So you cannot put the number 10, 9, 8 in a paper. You have to spell the word out. That's just another grammar rule that you may not have learned, but it's pretty important. So yeah, does that make sense for everyone as well?
Yep.
Okay.
That was just a little tidbit of information. All right, so all right, another sentence fragment. I'll paste. Jump tie. All right.
There is no subject.
Exactly. So we do not know who jumped high. So can anyone write us a sentence with jumped high in it? Okay. All right. Okay, so we have two examples. The first one is Jane, just going to fix some of the grammar. Jane broke her leg because she, and then we have a few options because you said jumped out and jumped high. So Jane broke her leg because she jumped too high. Oops. Or another option is because she jumped out of the car. I don't know. We'll just go with that. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And another grammar rule before we move on, because I used this too. Does anyone know why I used TOO instead of to? Which TO?
Two is when something is more. When you want to say that nothing is more than something else.
Yeah, so to is used for a quantity, like too much. So it's always describing a quantity.
Instead of to, that is a preposition.
Yes, and preposition. And what's the last two? There's another one. Does anyone know? Okay, it's TWO, and that's the number 2. So there's 3 twos in the American language. Yeah, so I love you too. It can also mean to as also. All right. And I gave my heart to her, used as a preposition. Awesome. So finding some grammar rules as we go along, which is great. All right. Okay, so run-on sentences. These are probably some of the most difficult to find when you are writing your own paper. And when we speak, in American, you'll notice it sounds like a run-on sentence. It just keeps going and going and going sometimes. Okay, so the biggest key for a run-on sentence is that it's usually more than 2 lines. So if you have a sentence and it takes up half a page, a famous one is Charles Dickens in A Tale of Two Cities. His first 2 pages are 1 sentence, and that's the most famous run-on sentence. But I guess we allowed him to get away with it because he's Charles Dickens. So, all right. This isn't a great example, but I guess it'll stress my point. I went to the store, I got milk and cookies.
And I got.
Yeah, so here the website I'm using for the examples, it says that they can be two separate sentences because they each have their own subject and verb.
Verb.
So we can connect the sentences with and it would be grammatically correct. Or you can put a period after store, and it would also be grammatically correct. Okay? This website says the two independent clauses, so I went to the store, and then the other clause, I got milk and cookies, cannot just be joined together without some type of punctuation. And I guess they stress that point because if we said, I went to the store and I got milk and cookies, we'd be using and twice, and it's not proper English to use and in a sentence twice. So this sentence would need a lot of work to be grammatically correct, other than adding a period after store. Does everyone understand why?
It's possible.
Okay, so I went to the store, I got milk and cookies are two separate clauses. So they express two separate ideas. They both have a subject and a verb. And because the second clause, I got milk and cookies, has the word and in it, it would not be proper English to say, I went to the store and I got milk and cookies. So the sentence would need some work. I went to the store and I got milk. I went to the store and I got cookies. So it would need some extra work if we wanted to combine or to keep the sentence in one sentence. But the easy solution here is I went to the store, period. I got milk and cookies. And so, yeah. If that makes sense, let me know. Well, if it doesn't make sense, let me know, and I can try to explain it better. Okay, silence. Okay, good. So in American and in British, we use the word I got a lot, but that's just for spoken. So got is used in spoken English, but got is very, very improper when writing a paper. So I don't know if any of you are in graduate school and you have to write papers in English. You almost never want to use got, so try and find a different verb, have, bought, something like that works in this sentence. So I went to the store, I bought milk and cookies. I went to the store and now I have milk and cookies. Something along those lines. Okay? So got is very spoken and trendy English and not proper for your papers. All right. Okay. Right. So now there's a few examples. Okay, so I guess what I want us to do is go over the grammar rules by coming up with our own sentences. So our first grammar rule was verb tense errors. So I want you to write a sentence that uses two verbs, and it can be in the past, present, or future, but the verbs have to be in the same tense. Okay?
Okay.
So we want to keep them cohesive, the verbs. All right? So if you can take 1 or 2 minutes to write a sentence, and then we can share them. All right. And then there are a few other grammar rules I can share. Less and fewer.
So you have to use two verbs in the same sentence?
Yes.
Okay.
So like one of our examples was, this example is not correct. I go to the store and I bought milk. So you want to write a correct sentence using 2 verbs. Okay. Oof. Okay, so Albie, you're in class with us. Your sentence was, I want to go to the movies. That's grammatically correct. I just wanted you to use a second verb. So, I want to go to the movies to see Skyfall. Okay? So, that has 2 verbs in it, but your sentence was correct. So, good job. And I'm posting some of the sentences that have grammatical errors in chat. So when you post it in chat, check out to see if I've corrected your sentence. Okay. Future, the site for Bling will be free. Watched a movie last week. In which the audio was in English. Okay, so hopefully you see your corrections. There were some sentences I did not correct because they were correct. Another rule in English that we have to watch out for is you have to capitalize English, American, French, German. So all languages are capitalized. Same with all national identities. So I'm American, you're Spanish. Okay, so that's another grammar rule, just in case. All right, and okay. All right, so I want to see if you understand the difference between two, and two. All right, so if you guys can make a sentence using those words, and then I can correct them. And then that will be our last exercise, and I will open the class up for questions about grammar. Okay? Okay, so people need to live and eat, and that is Okay, so I've made some corrections as well to these sentences, and I hope you can see them. And I think I got everyone who I needed to make a correction to. Some people gave multiple examples. Awesome. Ahmed, you just spelled "to" wrong. You spelled it like "toe." But other than that, good job. Okay. So, all right. So we have about 10 minutes left of class. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to go over according to grammar at all? Because I know it's very difficult.
Yes, there is sometimes people say I've got something instead of I got. What's the difference, and should we avoid it too in papers?
Yeah, so that's also a problem between British English and American English. So in American, we say I've got, so it translates to I have got. We rarely say I have got. We always say I've got. But if you are writing something, you want to say I have. And then the verb to describe it. So I have bought, I have colored, I have drawn, something along those lines, like I have painted to describe instead of I have got. And also, British people always ask, have you got?
Yeah.
Have you got? A lot of my students ask me that when we play games for questions. Have you got? In American, we never say that. So we always say, do you have?
You have.
Do you have? So that's the difference. So in everyday language, you can say, I've got. That's very common. Just if you write it, just make sure that you use a different verb or you say I have. And for a question, if I don't know how many of you have an accent that's British or American, but if you are in America and you say have you got, and it's a British accent, we understand. But if you have a very fluent American accent, we may think you're stupid. So just be careful with that. So that's, yeah, because it doesn't sound as good in American. Have you got? It sounds so improper. Thank you.
You're American, you?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I'm French, and I don't know if I have to get an American accent or a British accent. It's difficult to make a choice because I'm watching some movies, some American movies, or reading newspapers, British newspaper. So I can't focus on one particular type of English. So I made mistakes using English and American words in my sentences.
Yeah, you take care of the cold is correct. You may have like a mix of the two languages. I think since you're French and most people in Europe learn British English, it would be better to stick with the way British people spell certain words because they do use, like for color, for instance, like everything is spelled a little bit differently and they use different prepositions. And Americans can understand British English, but sometimes British people do not understand Americans.
Okay.
So sometimes I have difficulties because the vocabulary is different understanding British people. But yeah, I think if you live in Europe, it would be because you are exposed to British English, maybe to make the choice to learn British English over American. So,
Okay. Because last month I've been talking to a British friend.
mhm,
I talked about a show on TV named Band of Brothers,
okay,
and he didn't understand because in British in Britain he says band or band, so he didn't understand.
understand. Um, yeah, I'm sure you all know the British accent is very different than an American accent. And that does cause problems between the two languages. Um, I have a Parisian friend, and he speaks perfect British English. I thought he was British and not Parisian when we met. So I don't know. I guess the choice is up to you, depending on which culture you are more interested in, or maybe which language you have to speak more often. So maybe if your friends and coworkers speak British, it may be better
Mhm.
to stick with that. Is anyone else having a similar problem? Because I
No,
don't know.
I'm having English lesson with a mother tongue from
Oh,
Ireland.
oh wow. Okay. Ireland is so Irish English is really
Irish.
difficult. Yeah.
She speaks so quickly.
Okay. Um, I speak quickly as well, but for class I try to speak more slowly. So maybe you can ask her to slow down. Irish though, they have a thick accent, so a strong accent, and they have a lot of different vocabulary. I took an Irish literature class last year, right before I graduated, and I had to look up a lot of words. So I think it's great that you have a tutor, but that is going to be very difficult. So I wish you luck.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and does anyone else have questions about grammar before we go, or want to know anything?
Not about the grammar, but about intonation. I noticed that, for example, British and Americans, they have different intonation in sentences, and I would like to ask you if there is any system to it. Can it be learned? I mean, are there rules to intonation?
Yeah, there are. Can I ask what your native language is first?
I'm bilingual. I speak Georgian and Russian.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. I live with a Georgian family here. They speak Georgian and French now.
Cool.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So, in American, you notice my voice, it fluctuates like this
Oh, yeah.
when I speak
It does.
sentences. So we stress certain words. Unfortunately, I can't specifically describe that for you because I have not taken a phonetics class in English. But I know that certain words are stressed and certain syllables are stressed. The key when you are speaking, if a word is important, you want to enunciate it. So you want to stress that word to make sure that everyone knows that's important in your sentence. For questions, you want to make sure your voice goes up at the end. So my voice is cracking, so I won't be the best example, but like, do you have a lot of crayons at home? Kind of like you want to go up at the end. And you want to stress like crayons because you're asking that specifically. Like, do you have a lot of this specific item?
Yeah, but I also noticed that you use intonation goes up when you use not questions but regular sentences.
Regular sentences.
During this very lesson.
Yeah.
So.
Some of that is due to my voice breaking, so like it just did right now. So I'm kind of like a pubescent child right now. You'll have to forgive me. But yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm sorry that I can't describe why our voice changes like that.
Is
But
there
I think it just happens naturally.
some sort of subject course, or is there a study of this part of language?
Yeah, it's called phonetics. So I took it when I learned French. So I understand French phonetics much better than I understand English phonetics. Go figure.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, if you're interested, phonetics, and they're usually in. So if you look up a word on wordreference.com, you'll see some funky symbols. So you have to learn the phonetic alphabet, which will teach you how to pronounce words, and that will automatically show you how to stress certain words. So your intonation and your enunciation will be correct. So yeah, you have to learn the phonetic alphabet first for English, and I've never learned it. I learned it for French. So I can't help there. But so I hope that helps you a little bit. There may be a phonetic website for you to look on, but maybe I can do some Googling and give a course on phonetics and pronunciation.
Yes, there is a very good phonetics course on the BBC website.
On BBC? Oh crap, that's British. So maybe I can find an American one that I may understand. So class is over, and it was great meeting all of you. I have another class in an hour, so maybe I'll see some of you there. We're going to read a short story. Okay. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Bye.
Laura.